start sharing my screen.
Mm.
Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Yeah, so I just want to first thank you, Jingjing, for inviting us to share our story here. And we are also very grateful for the New York State TESOL for providing us with this platform. And thank you everyone for joining us today. So our research project is titled Social Action Project, Chinese and Taiwanese Parent Perceptions of Chinese Immersion Programs in the US. My name is Zhongfeng Tian, and I'm presenting today with my colleagues and team members, Marsha Liao and Tina Wang. So Dr. Becky Huang couldn't be with us today, and we will be presenting on behalf of her. So here's the outline of our talk. We will start with sharing how we came together as a team and our social action research project goals and what we did. We will also share some preliminary results from our national survey and some major lessons we learned as a team. So hopefully in the end, we will have some time for Q&A.
Okay, so I will talk about how did we come together. So Becky and Zhongfeng and I first met in 2020 summer. Then after we collected data, Tina joined our team. So Zhongfeng and I first met when we were doctoral students and like emerging scholar. And we were in different schools, but we have similar research interests. We actually have a mutual dissertation committee member, Dr. Sanli Lau from Quebec, Bishop University. And Becky is Zhongfeng's colleague, and Tina was Becky's doctoral student. This is how we got connected and came together to collaborate on this research. And I'm Marsha, Education and Curriculum Director at Pioneer Valley Chinese Immersion Charter School. My research centers on critical biliteracies, that is how children can become critical in two language systems and how knowing two language can contribute to their the two children being critical. My other research interests include L2 teacher education, second language writing, multiliteracies, and ethnographic methodologies. And then I would like to Zhongfeng to introduce himself.
Hi, hello again, everybody. I'm Zhongfeng. So I'm currently an assistant professor at the University of Texas at San Antonio. Because of my multilingual background in Mandarin and English and research interest in dual language immersion programs, so I'm really interested to explore issues of promoting multilingualism and by multiculturalism in language education with a specific focus on Mandarin Chinese. And Becky is my colleague who's an associate professor at the UTSA. Her research focuses on bilingual second language learning, literacy development, and language assessment. So she and I had been talking about conducting a project related to Chinese immersion based on our shared cultural and linguistic background.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tina Wang. I am an associate researcher at the Assessment and Achievement Institute at University of Kansas. I have taught both English and Mandarin in the United States, and this motivated me to conduct research in bilingualism. My research focuses on language assessment, English language learners, English learners with cognitive disabilities, and validation studies in the field of educational assessment. I'm very excited to be invited and to join this research team.
Thank you, Tina. We see our roles as educational researchers with social responsibilities. So therefore, we came together to conduct this social action research project. Here are our major project goals. So first one, to raise public awareness of seeing bilingualism as assets. Second, to broaden the linguistic representation in addition to Spanish-English combinations in bilingual education research. And lastly, to promote heritage language learning and education among Chinese and Taiwanese communities.
Okay, before we move into our detail of the research findings, I would like to give a little bit timeline of our research process. It's an overview, and later we'll give another thorough explanation. So in 2020 September, we started to shape our research. That's our preparation stage. And in 2020 November, we completed our survey design. In 2021 June, we received the IRB approval. With IRB approval, we started to conduct a small-scale pilot study to see if our survey works. The data collection period is about 3 months from 2021 September to December, about 3 months. And 2022 February, we did a data screening and preliminary data analysis. And now we are here. This is actually the first time sharing our preliminary data analysis result. And in the future, in the near future, we have more work to do, such as in-depth interview and further data analysis for both quantitative and qualitative research. Zhongfeng, next slide. Okay, so during the preparation stage, we focus on two areas. One is shaping the research design and anchor the issues. And the second one is conducting pre-survey interviews. So the collaboration of our first step was to find a research issue and shape our research design. Originally, we considered to conduct the translanguage pedagogy or language assessment or classroom-based research. However, 2024 and spring, we were all the schools and we all were still in pandemic and all schools were online. So our initial idea came from our earlier dialogues about my school context, because in my school, the student population has a higher percentage of white European population instead of Chinese and Taiwanese immigrant population. And we question why Chinese and Taiwanese immigrants students has a small percentage in dual language programs. Besides that, we also check a couple of similar dual language schools in California, and the situation is quite similar. And at that time, there were many Asian racism issues happening in the US. Then we decided to collaborate on a research that can reflect our own identity and heritage language Chinese. So we framed this study with the social justice lens. We want to explore why such a small percentage of Chinese, Taiwanese, American students in Chinese English dual immersion program are these schools designed for Chinese and Taiwanese heritage students. So we decided to look at the Chinese and Taiwanese parents' perception of a Chinese immersion program in the US. And as for our research design, Becky and Tina have quantitative background, and Zhongfeng and I have qualitative research background. So using a mixed method study design could be a good fit for this team. So, and that time, because pandemic, the survey design actually will work quite effectively during the pandemic era as well. So all of us actually conduct this study apart from our main job. Well, it's not our hobby, but we really enjoy using Chinese to communicate and talk about our research. And after that, the next step, we actually conducted a pre-survey interview to sense a direction for our survey. During this preparation stage, we conducted several pre-survey interviews. Each of us probably interviewed 2 to 3 Chinese and Taiwanese immigrant family. We got quite different views from these interviewees because some are really into bilingualism. However, some interviewees consider more into English-only monolingualism for their children instead of a Chinese-English bilingualism. Then we become skeptical about many reasons behind. So this pre-survey interview actually helped us to design our survey questions, and Zhongfeng will give more details about survey design.
Thank you, Marsha. So our next stage is to start doing survey design. So we first review the literature to identify potential predictors of parents' perceptions of dual language programs and decisions for their children's language education. And then we decided on the major constructs of the survey and adapted survey items from several previous studies on parent perceptions of dual language programs and family language policies. And then we started to construct an English version of the survey first. Then we translated the survey into another 2 language versions, which are traditional and simplified Chinese. And then we invited a panel of parents and educators to review the Chinese versions and revise the surveys based on their feedback and suggestions. So as you can see, it's a pretty iterative process. And the next step, as we all know, before you can officially launch any study, one important step is to get an IRB approval. So different institutions follow different schedules to complete their IRB review. Luckily for our institution, UTSA, the review process was not that difficult, but we did need to get many documents prepared in advance, such as parent consent forms, recruitment letters, and interview questions in 3 language versions. So once we got approval, we started to finalize survey in Qualtrics form. Qualtrics is very easy to navigate, and there are many tutorials available at my school websites and online. Another important step before disseminating the survey nationally is to conduct a small-scale pilot study first. So we invited our friends who are qualified, especially those who do not work as researchers in our field, to test our surveys. Each of them provided us with honest, constructive feedback, which helped us further revise our research questions. So I think we ended up making more edits and additions, and we submitted IRB modifications to get approval again. So as you can see, this was also kind of another iterative process.
Okay, for survey dissemination, I have to say, thanks to technology and internet, we don't really need to stand on the street to give out the survey or mail out the hard copy of survey like old times. So due to this help, social media, we use different social media and networks. They contribute to our survey dissemination. So we actually met several recruit aides and distribute them in many social networks like social media, Twitter, FB groups, Instagram, LinkedIn, and we email to friends and to friends, professionals from the field and academic institutions, associations. We probably use up all the networks we have.
Mm-hmm. We also designed our own websites for survey disseminations. So we're really grateful for the support from the communications and marketing team at our College of Education and Human Development here at UTSA. So they helped us create 3 websites in English, simplified, and traditional Chinese. So as you can see the picture here, we also thought website is a good way to professionally and publicly share our social action research project updates.
Mm-hmm. And for data collection, originally we didn't know if we can even get 100 because it's like, we actually really cannot predict our result. But thanks to all the network and the websites and helpers, we actually collected near 100 surveys. Although after screening the data, probably only 300 surveys are valid, but we are very happy with our data collection. And Zhongfeng will give more thorough details about our data screening.
Yeah, so we, as just like Marsha said, we received actually close to 1,000 responses among the 3 versions of the surveys. So online data survey collection was much less labor and time intensive compared to data collection from each individuals. However, there's one caveat. Upon reviewing the records in Qualtrics, we found many suspicious responses, many of which were potentially fake answers. So we developed the 3 screening criteria first. So A, respondents took at least 8 minutes to complete the survey, and B, respondents completed at least 2/3 of the survey, and C, the names, either first, last, or both, or contact information respondents provided are related to Chinese ethnicity and or heritage. So now I'm gonna give to Tina to share some preliminary results from our survey.
Thank you, Zhongfeng. So I will first talk about some background information and the demographic information of our participants. We have in total, after data screening, we have 235 participants in our survey, in our data. And out of the 235, 234 participants fill out the information on what kind of guardian they are. And we have 81.2% of our participants are mother of the child, and 18.4% of our participants are father of the child. So we can see that most of our participants who filled out the survey are mother of the child. And we also ask about their highest level of education at their household. So either the mother or the father, and then what is their highest level of education. So we find out that most of our participants hold a graduate degree, a master degree, or a doctoral degree. We have 78.3% of our participants who hold a graduate degree, and we have 11.5% of participants hold a college degree. This shows that most of our participants have a higher education and advanced degree. And on the right side, we can see the map. The density of the map shows where the most and the least number of our participants come from in the different states. We have participants coming from a wide range of states, 31 states. And you can see we have a lot of participants coming from California. We have 64. And then we have some participants coming from New York, Massachusetts, 36. So this also represents the Chinese or Taiwanese population in the United States, where California and New York have a more concentrated population of Chinese and Taiwanese. We also have 16 participants from Texas, 11 from Utah and Michigan. We have 10. Next slide. Because some of our parents have more than one child, we asked our parents to select one of their child and complete the rest of the survey. So the age range of the selected child is from 0 to 15 years old. And the majority of the selected child ranges from 4 years old to 11 years old, with an average of 7 years old. We asked our parents, is your child currently attending any Chinese language programs in his or her school? And out of the 235 participants, we have more than half of the participants said yes, their child is currently attending Chinese language program. And then we have less than half, 40%, 93 people said no, my child is not currently attending a Chinese language program. And then out of the people who said they are currently attending a Chinese language program, we have more than half of the participants, 90 people, more than half of the participants who said they are attending other Chinese language program. And we have less than half of participants, 52 people, who said they are attending Mandarin English dual language programs, which is our focus. And then we also ask, are there any Mandarin English dual language programs in your school districts? So we have more than half of the participants said yes. Actually, more than half of the participants said no, there are not Mandarin English dual language program in my district. And then we have 13% who said, I don't know if there are any dual language program in my school district. And then we have 33% of participants who said, yes, there are Mandarin English dual language program. And out of the 33% of the participants, we have more than half, if you see the pie chart, we have more than half, 52 people who is currently attending, and less than half who is not attending. And then we asked, out of these people who said we don't have any Mandarin English dual language program, or people who said we don't know if there are any Mandarin English dual language program here in their school district, we asked these 158 people, would you enroll your child in a bilingual language program if they are available? So the answer is more than half of the people said yes, they would enroll their child. And then we have 30% who said maybe. And then we have 12% who said no. So this pie chart shows that we don't have a lot of a Mandarin English dual program in school districts available. More than half of the people said they don't have the such program available. And also, if they're available, more than half the people would be willing to enroll their child in dual language program. And then I'm going to talk about the preliminary results on parents' perceptions and its relationship with having their child attending dual language program. So there are 235 participants who fill out these survey items about parents' perceptions of the role of Mandarin and English. The blue color represents the percentage of parents agree and strongly agree with the statement. And the orange color represents the percentage of parents disagree and strongly disagree with these statements. So the histogram can be divided into 3 parts. The first part, we look at the first 4 statements from the left. So we can see that the majority of the parents hold positive values towards the role of Mandarin and English. They hold a positive perspective towards being bilingual. So we can see, for example, children's ability to read in 2 languages may play a positive role. Reading in 2 languages at home is essential for a bilingual child. It is important for children to master 2 languages from infancy to go ahead. And I would like to enroll my children if there is one available in our neighborhood. I would like to enroll my child in a Mandarin Chinese English program. So this shows that our parents have positive values towards both languages. And then the second part, let's look at the next 5 statements. These next 5 statements we worded as has negative values or deficit perspective towards bilingual or towards the role of Mandarin and English. And we can see that the majority of our parents disagree or strongly disagree with these statements. Bilingual children do not know either language as much as monolingual children do. They strongly disagree. And it is important to speak mostly in English with children from infancy in order to improve their English skills. Also disagree. Most people speaking Mandarin constantly plays a negative role in child's ability to master English. Disagree. And they also disagree that children can learn English early at school, so we don't need to teach them English at home. And then speaking 2 languages at home is confusing to children. As a result, they do not know either English or Mandarin. So we can see that our parents do not hold deficit values towards the role of Mandarin and English. And the third part is the last statement, which is quite interesting. The majority of our parents believe that it's necessary to communicate with children at home only in Mandarin in order to maintain their first language. And then we also asked about our parents' perception of how important it is for their children to master Mandarin and English. We can see that the majority, more than 90% of our participants believe that speaking in English, reading and writing in English are very important. So English are the most important, and then followed by speaking in Mandarin Chinese. The majority, more than 70%, think speaking in Mandarin Chinese is important. And then we have reading and writing in Mandarin Chinese is important. And then we have speaking in any other foreign language. So this is less important than speaking in their first language or speaking in the dominant language, which is English. And then reading and writing is even less important than speaking. So we went further and we want to look at the relationship between parents having their child attend or willing to attend the dual language program and the parents' perceptions of the role of Mandarin and English for their children. We want to see if there is any relationship. And we found out that when the parents have a positive attitude towards the role of Mandarin and English, they are more likely to have their child be attending a Chinese language program, or they are more likely to willing to enroll their child in dual language program. So if we see the statement G, I would like to enroll my children at a Mandarin English program if there is one available in our neighborhood. And then this is strongly related to the other item, willingness to enroll. So it's 0.59. We can see the effect size of more than 0.5 means it's large. So this means the relationship is very strong and is statistically significant, because this is basically the same item that we asked two times in different survey item. So this shows that our parents are consistently entering their surveys. Their survey answer is consistent, and we have good quality data. And then if parents think it is important for children to master 2 languages from infancy to get ahead, then they are more likely to be attending Chinese language program or willing to, this one is not significant, but it's also positive, willing to enroll. And then we have reading in 2 languages at home is essential for a bilingual child. The parents who hold this perception, they are more likely to enroll their child as well. And children's ability to read in 2 languages may play a positive role, and they are also more likely to attend or willing to enroll in dual language program. So we can see if a parent is positive about the 2 languages, then they are more willing to enroll their child. And then the other statement from B to F, B, C, D, E, F, these are what we said earlier. They have a deficit or negative perspective about both languages, and the result shows that they have no relation with whether the parents would enroll their child or not. And also statement A, it's necessary to communicate with children at home only in Mandarin Chinese in order to maintain their first language. So this is talking about communication at home. And this also didn't show any relationship. And this is talking about communication with children at home only in Mandarin, and it shows no relationship. So it's when we asked the parents, and when the parents said in 2 languages and the reading, and they have positive values, and that's related to enrolling their child to the language program. And we also looked at the relationship between willing to attend dual language program and children's use of language at home. And from the yellow line above, we asked about children's use of language in English at home. So we asked their time spent reading in English outside of school, and we asked their reading frequency in different scenarios outside of school. And we asked the number of books in English at home. And the yellow line below, we asked for all the same questions, the same survey items, but is asking children's use of language in Mandarin at home. And we found out that only 2 items statistically and significantly relate to parents' decisions on whether to have their child attend dual language program or not. So when we look at the E statement, when a child spends more time in reading emails, web pages, and social media sites, this actually negatively relates to parents' willingness to enroll. So this means that the more time a child spends in reading email, web pages, social media site, the more likely their parents is not willing to enroll their child in dual language program. And we find that the number 3 statement, we find that the more time a child spends watching movies, TV, and listen to music, then the more likely the child is currently attending dual program. So this has a positive relationship. And this shows that watching movies, TV, may motivate a child to attend the dual program, or vice versa, that attending the dual program made a child to be more likely to engage in multimedia learning. And as we can see, all the other reading frequency items have no relationship or negative relationship with parents enrolling their child to dual language program. All these other ones, they belong to text-based reading. And watching movies, TV, and listening to music belong to multimedia learning. So there may be a difference between text-based reading and the multimedia learning and how they influence the parents' decisions on enrolling their child or not. And because we have many survey items, and many of our survey items represents different constructs, so we would like for future analysis, we would like to conduct data reduction, running factor analysis, and then we would like to run a regression analysis to answer these two research questions. So we would like to know what factors influence parents' decisions on whether to have their child attend or willing to enroll their child in Mandarin English dual language program. And the second, we would like to know if we want to improve our child's Chinese language skills, what may be the influencing factors or what may predict children's Chinese language skills? Is it because of their parents' perceptions of the role of both languages, or maybe it was the reading frequency, the use of language at home, or maybe it was attending or willing to enroll their child in dual language program. And then I will turn to Masha to talk about conclusion and implications.
Thank you, Tina, for explaining us the preliminary findings thoroughly. It's actually quite amazing and exciting to learn about all these numbers and graphics. So my work is, my job is right now is to talk about the conclusion and implication from our preliminary findings. So the first conclusion we have is for just most Chinese and Taiwanese parents are willing to enroll their children in Chinese immersion programs if there are programs available. This implies that we need to promote having more Chinese immersion programs in the school districts because there's a strong need and lack of programs available. And the second conclusion is parents' perception of the role of reading in English and Mandarin significantly related to their decisions on enrolling their child to Chinese immersion program. And this implies that biliteracy skills may play an important role in parents' choices of attending Chinese immersion programs. And the next two is most parents' perception of the role of bilingualism, English and Mandarin are positive. However, the majority of our data come from parents who hold graduate degrees. This implies that for our future studies, we probably need to focus on a wider range of parents with different socioeconomic status and educational backgrounds. So this is roughly our conclusion implication. And the next slide, we'll talk about our reflection, the main lesson learned.
Mm-hmm. So our project is still ongoing. We will continue to perform quantitative analysis of our survey responses, as this will inform our next step, which is conduct one-on-one interviews with some focal parents to gain further insights about their perceptions and choices. So eventually, we envision our study as a mixed methods research project, and we look forward to continuing to share our research results. And finally, we would like to share some major lessons learned from this project. So for me, I think I am super grateful for our teamwork, as it makes this mission impossible possible. And I would also like to thank everyone who helped us disseminate this survey, and really glad to see some of you are here with us today in today's webinar. So it really takes a village to conduct such a large-scale social action research project. And I will present on behalf of my colleague, Becky. So according to her, it was great working with us as a team. And online survey data collection is less time and labor intensive and convenient, but the validity of the data can be questionable. So that's why it's important for us to develop the screening criteria to ensure that the data we use for the project is valid.
Okay, and for me, the major lesson learned is I actually learned about mixed method research skills, like quantitative data collection and how to deal with a large data set, such as setting up screening criteria, understanding the meaning of statistic numbers, etc. And well, probably SPS is still far from me, but it's quite amazing to see our preliminary data interpretation. I think all this came from our shared wisdom through this long-term collaboration. Each member of us has different expertise, and I learn and grow from every meeting and every dialogue we had. So I also want to thank my team. Tina?
And for me, the lessons learned is if for future studies, if we were to conduct if we were to replicate the studies, or people would like to replicate studies in other languages or other programs, then we can further update our survey item choices and change some open-ended options to multiple choice questions based on our already existing data bank. So this will help to streamline our survey and improve our data analysis.
So thank you so much all for listening. Please find our contact information here. And we also like to invite you to check out our websites as well. You can find the websites here, available in 3 language versions. We will continue to post our survey updates on the websites as well. We hope you find this presentation helpful, especially those who are thinking to conduct studies of similar scale and nature. Let's continue to grow our community. We are happy to answer any questions you may have, and we are also interested to hear any feedback you'd like to provide, because engaging with the public is also an important step for social action research project. 谢谢大家. Thank you, everyone.